Hey guys, Gayan here from Liberal Health Center. Quick video today on how we can use a spiky ball to really get into those upper back, neck, shoulder muscles in our body. One of the common reasons why a lot of people present to our clinic is because people present with headaches, neck pain, that forward posture where we tend to roll our shoulders forward and our neck forward from being in the same position for a very long time. And that can cause a lot of tension, a lot of tightness in these back muscles through here. It also leads to a lot of the pain that we sometimes suffer in the front of our shoulders, neck pain as well. It can change our posture in general over time very slowly. So a spiky ball is a fantastic way. They're easy to transport, easy to use, very cheap as well. But they're a really good alternative to a foam roller to really get into those really tricky spots that can really help us when there's a lot of structures. So we've got the spine, we've got our shoulder blade, obviously got ribs. So it's a really nice way to kind of get into those little intricate spots and really get into the areas that are really giving us knots and tension and that referred pain that sometimes presents in our neck and gives us headaches. How that tends to happen as well is we tend to get a lot of pain between our shoulder blades. When that happens, it tends to kind of join onto the trapezius muscle, and then that tension runs up until the base of the skull. And when we get that pain through there, it can sometimes tend to radiate pain and headaches into that temple region. So it's a common presentation that we tend to see a lot in the clinic. And using a spiky ball a couple of minutes a day can go a really, really long way to kind of really taking pressure off those areas and letting it develop into a headache. To begin with, what we're going to do is we're going to use that spiky ball or this spiky ball here to really get into those shoulder blade muscles. So the muscles that sit between the spine and the shoulder blades through here. So we want to place it in between and we want to roll up and down. We can either roll up and down, or if we find a really, really tender spot, we can hold and put a little bit more pressure into that area. And we want to make sure that we're doing both sides. So the best way to do that is actually just against the wall. It's nice and easy, nice and simple. The trickiest part is just trying to find the right spot. So if I try to emulate that on myself, if I try to find this spot through here, I'm going to feel my spine, I'm going to feel my shoulder blade, and I'm going to place it in between. So the ball goes in through there. I'm now going to lean it up against the wall. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend my knees so I can get a little bit lower, and then I can start to push my body back towards the wall. So now I'm squishing the ball between that spot in my spine and the wall itself. Once I've found that spot, I can just roll up and down. Or I can push more into that wall to get a bit more pressure. Or I can start to actually use my shoulder to do some small circles. Bring the arm up, down. And when we're moving the shoulder, we're moving those muscles in and out of that spot, so then we can actually get a little bit deeper. And we can combine the two as well. Good. And now what we want to do is we want to actually start to get into that trapezius muscle, because the tension there and the tension between the shoulder blades, like I mentioned, tends to run up slowly to the base of the neck. So this can take a little bit of finessing and it can be a little bit tricky, but what we want to do is keep rolling up, rolling up. We'll feel like we get to the top of our shoulder blade. And once we're there, we're going to start to slowly turn our body towards the ball. And then once we're here, we can slide up and down. And just to bring that ball a little bit closer to show you against the mirror as well. So we're going up and down through here, towards the tip of the shoulder, all the way down. And like I said, this can be a little bit tricky, but once you start to master after a couple of times, it's fantastic. And it really gets into spots that a foam roller really can't get into. Again, once you find the spot that you're like, oh, that's really, really tight, there's a bit of a knot there, you can hold and put a bit of pressure, and then release, and then go up and down as well. And once you've gotten the hang of that, we can start to actually go up really gently into our scalene muscles as well. So that's how it starts to connect to the base of the skull and starts to present pain underneath. To do that, we come across a little bit more, so we're turning a bit more towards the ball, and then we're going to come up and down nice and gently along the neck there. But we're going to not put too much pressure, it's really, really light. So once I come down to my collarbone, I'm going to start to turn away from the ball again. And I'm going to slide up and down. So now I'm back onto my trapezius muscle. And now I'm going to start to turn away again. And now I'm between my shoulder blades right at the top. And then I'm going up and down again. Good. And you want to do that both sides a couple of times a day, or a couple of minutes each side. And like I said, that tends to go up and down through the shoulder blade, over that shoulder blade to the tip, and then sometimes can actually start to pull into that neck area as well. So it's a fantastic way to kind of get that whole top half of our back. Once we've done that, we can actually get into our actual shoulder blade. So there's a couple of muscles, including our rotator cuff muscles, that start from that shoulder blade and wrap around the shoulder. And if we can get into these little spots in between our shoulder blade, that can also start to increase the range of movement in our shoulder as well. So that can start to reverse that posture where we're coming forward. So a nice little spot where we really want to get into, here's our shoulder blade through here. About halfway down, we can actually place the ball in through here. So this is where our teres minor and teres major muscles sit, our infraspinalis muscles. They're the ones that, again, like I mentioned, help move the shoulder. So to find that spot, again, you want to find your shoulder blade. You want to start to go across a little bit through there, so halfway. Place that ball there underneath the bony part, and then gently put some pressure in through there. And you'll know when you're exactly on that spot right underneath that scapula or that shoulder blade, because you'll start to feel a little bit of a pinch, and that's not too bad. Once you find that spot, you want to just hold that pressure against the wall, and again, you can start to do some small circles. Come around a little bit as well. Once I find that spot where it's really tender, I'm just going to hold for a little bit longer, put a little bit more pressure as well. And then I'm going to release. So that's a really good way to start taking a lot of pressure through these back muscles, through these shoulder muscles, but we can't forget completely about the front. So we also get a lot of tightness in our pec muscles and the front of our shoulder, and that tension, so if we're driving all day or if we're on the computer all day, that tends to bring our shoulders forward. And as our shoulders come forward, so does the rest of our body then as well. So if we can release these muscles through the front, that's going to start that process again of starting to open us back up, bring our shoulders back, bring our head up a bit more into neutral, and our spine a little bit straighter as well. So a nice easy way is to actually begin just by massaging the front of our shoulder, so our front deltoid and our bicep tendon. So what you want to do is you want to find the front of your shoulder through here. You want to place the ball through there. You don't want to put too much pressure because there's a lot of tendon through there. And then you want to, again, lean into the wall, and you want to slide up and down. And you can move that around to find those tender spots that you're finding that are really holding you back. And all I'm doing now is I'm just bending my knees and straightening it. Once I find that spot, I can keep a straight arm, and I can bring it straight back behind me. And as my hand comes back, my shoulder comes forward, and that starts to get me a little bit deeper into that area. Side to side. Straight up and straight down. And I can move it a little bit lower as well towards my pec. There we go. And to get our pec, so our pec runs from pretty much the top half through here, and it runs almost like in a horizontal angle towards our sternum. So to get that, what you want to do is go roll in from the front of the shoulder, and then you want to massage that ball across. So same positioning, right across like that. To get a really good stretch into that area and to get really deep into it, what we want to do is actually pull the muscle away. So once we find the spot we want to place our ball, we bring our arm back and up, and then we can actually put it against the wall there. And once we're there, we can start to slide our arm up and down against the wall, and that lets us get deeper into that pec area. And again, we just want to do this a couple of times each side. We do it once a day, twice a day, fantastic. And it goes a really long way towards minimizing the chances of developing headaches, developing neck, shoulder tension, pain between the shoulder blades. Bring the shoulder back a little bit and forward. It's also important to know that with these spiky balls, they can be quite sensitive to begin with. So if you're finding that the pressure is a little bit too much from those spiky balls, just put it into a sock. It's easy to control that way and it's not as harsh on the body as well. So that's a nice quick overview of how we can actually use a spiky ball to really help with our upper body, to get into the back, to get into the shoulders, to get into our pec and chest area as well. So yeah, if you have any questions or if you have anything you want to ask us, let us know. Live Well Health Centre, 9363 2961. Thanks guys.